Hello, everyone. Welcome to Catherine's ESL classroom. In today's lesson, we are going to have a review on modal verbs. Do you remember what modal verbs are? Well, they are an auxiliary verb expressing the main verb. They are used in conjunction with the main verb. The expression, shall we learn some modal verbs today? Shall is the modal verb expressing the main verb learn. Shall means to offer or to kind of provide a suggestion. Shall we learn some modal verbs today? So let's get started and have some fun. So thank you again, everyone, for joining Ms. Catherine's ESL classroom on modal verbs review. You will see here, I can ski or I can't ski. Can would be the affirmative modal verb and can't would be the negative modal verb. We will review shall, ought to, must, may, could, would, might, should, will, and can. Modal verbs are auxiliary verbs that cannot usually work alone. They are used with a main verb. Modals help the main verb with expression. These are modal verbs: will, may, can, must, shall, would, might, could, ought to, and should. When to use modal verbs? Will modal verb is used when we have it as a willingness or certain prediction or promise. This is when we use the modal verb will. Would, we'd use it as a request, invitation, or making arrangements. May is used for permission or future possibility. Might, we would use it as a present or future possibility. Can is the ability or request. Could is used for past ability, suggestion, or future possibility. Must is used for a necessity or obligation. Ought to is used for what's right and correct. Shall, we use it as an offer or suggestion. And should is used for advice or uncertain prediction. Okay? This is a good time to maybe take a picture of this on when to use these modal verbs. So what are modal verbs? Modal verbs are weird verbs because they don't follow the regular rules. They're rebels and outlaws. As such, we refer to them as auxiliary verbs because they need another verb to latch onto for meaning. They always express a hypothetical. Example and differences. For example, I go to the library on Tuesdays. This means you actively go to the library on Tuesdays. I can go to the library on Tuesdays. This means your ability to go without a definite. You don't have to, but you're able to. I could go to the library on Tuesdays. This means the possibility of being able to go. Okay, so the words can and could are modal verbs. They express a hypothetical. You got it? All right. What are modal verbs? Well, we went through this, right? So I want to go through this again. Examples: I go to the library on Tuesdays. This means you actively go to the library on Tuesdays. I can go to the library on Tuesdays. This means your ability to go without a definite. Okay, this means you don't have to, but you're able to. I could go to the library on Tuesdays. This means the possibility of being able to go. Okay, again, can and could are modal verbs. So if I say I can go to the library on Tuesdays, that means I don't have to go, but I'm able to. So I can change can by saying I am able to go to the library on Tuesdays. The last one, could, modal verb. I could go to the library on Tuesdays. This means it's a possibility of being able to go. I could say, I could go to the library on Tuesdays, but we could change it and say, there's a possibility to go to the library on Tuesday. So that means I'm thinking about it and there's a possibility I might be able to go. Okay, I hope you got it now. Modal verbs make questions by inversion. Inversion, okay, so we're switching. She can go out. So if I were to invert, she can go out, a statement, making it into a question, how would I create this? Can she go out? Okay, so we're switching from she can to can she. Can she go out? How would we invert this statement? We could drive there and create a question. That's right. Could we drive there? What about this one? Children should eat fruit. How would we invert this statement into a question? That's right. Should children eat fruit? Now, which verbs are the modal verbs? That's right. Can, could, and should. Now, in each sentence, which is the main verb? Go, okay? Can is expressing the main verb, go. What about we could drive there? What is the main verb here? That's right, drive. And what's the modal verb? Could. So could is expressing drive, the main verb. What about the main verb in children should eat fruit? Main verb, eat, which is the modal verb, should. Should is expressing the main verb, eat. Good job. Modal verbs can be used to show how possible something is, or how likely it is to happen or have happened. For example, he's very late. He could have missed the train. It's snowing, so it must be freezing outside. They will lock the doors when they go out. Okay, again here, modal verbs can be used to show how possible something is, the possibility or how likely it is to have happened or happened. Okay, it's very late. This person is very late. He's very late. He has to take the train, so he could have missed the train because he was late, right? Good. It's snowing, so it must be freezing outside, right? So we have to bundle up. They will lock the doors when they go out. So when they leave, they must lock the door. So they will lock the doors, okay? You know, when they go out, they will lock the doors. It will happen. Can you spot the modal verbs used to show possibility in these sentences? Mom might take us swimming after school. Might, correct. You could eat a banana instead of those sweets. Can you spot the modal verb here? Could. Hurry up. We will be late, said Dad. Can you spot the modal verb here? Will. We will be late. Good job. We can go the other way. It's quicker. Can you spot the modal verb? Can. Good. You ought to go to bed earlier. That's right. Ought to. Good job. Which modal verbs are missing from these sentences? You blank be hot in that jacket. It's summer. Okay. Now, if you don't remember the modal verbs, remember that screenshot or the picture you took of all the modal verbs that we're learning today? Okay, go back to it. Now, which modal verb is missing? You must be hot in that jacket. It's summer. You can see the person is really hot. Person's sweating, right? Good. If it's dry, blank, we play outside. Now, this is a tricky one. If it's dry, blank, we play outside. Shall we play outside? Okay. Remember, this is an offer or suggestion. If it's dry, shall we play outside? We're offering or we're suggesting. He's so fast, he blank win the race. Okay, is another tricky one. He's so fast, he blank win the race. He could win the race. How many people said must? Okay, he's so fast, he could win the race. It's a possibility, not must, it will happen, okay? I'm fed up with my long hair. I blank have it cut. Now, what does fed up mean, right? If I'm fed up with my long hair, I blank have it cut. Means it's annoying, right? You don't want to take care of your long hair anymore, okay? I'm fed up with my long hair. I blank have it cut. I might have it cut, okay? They're thinking about it. It's a future possibility. I might have it cut. This is a tough one, right? How many people said, I will have it cut? Well, if you are saying, I will have it cut, that means you made a quick decision and it's going to happen. But in this picture, we're still thinking about it, right? Possibility. Did you choose these modal verbs? Which others could you have used? Now, you could use some other modal verbs here. Now, I want you to put down in the comments which other modal verbs could be used here. They do have different meanings, so go back to all the different definitions of the modal verbs and then write it down in the comments. How many people might say, I'm fed up with my long hair. I may have it cut. Why would it be may and not might? Would it have a different meaning? Okay, put it down in the comments. Modal verbs can also be used to show advice or obligation. Advice or obligation. For example, students must wear a uniform. You should not smoke. Okay, is must here an advice or obligation? That's right, it's an obligation. What about should? You should not smoke. Would that be advice or obligation? Advice, right? You should not smoke. Habits. I will often have cereal for my breakfast. We shall always enjoy a walk in the park. Okay, these express habits. Okay, permission. May I leave a few minutes early? Okay, how many people said can? Can I leave a few minutes early? Do you know the differences between may and can? Okay, so remember, when you're asking for permission, we use may. Can, if we say, can I leave a few minutes early, that would not be requesting permission. Okay, this means you'll be able to. It is also another way of saying it informally. Okay, so may is more polite and it's more formal. Can is more informal. It means that you're capable of it. Another permission of a modal verb would be, could we go to the post office on the way? Could we go to the post office on the way? Okay, suggesting the future possibility. Please, can we have an ice cream cone? Good. Ability. This means you are capable of doing something. I can drive a tractor. My grandfather could draw very well. Now, modal verbs are quite difficult, so it takes a lot of practice. So how did you do, everyone, with the modal verbs in shall, ought to, must, may, could, would, might, should, will, and can? Modal verbs are very tricky, so keep practicing and ask as many questions, okay? So until next time, bye.